Welcome to Magical Moments for that ease and betterment in your life. I'm Alena Chapman, and we do really need that ease and betterment, don't we now, with everything going the way it is. But I do have something fun to tell you. I am putting Hello Soul, my book, which is interesting. It's just not even staying up there long enough to sell half the time on Amazon, which is incredible. But I am now doing an Audible form. And I would love to hear if you would be interested. It's really interesting to be able to record my own book. It's fun, but it's really interesting. I don't think I've ever had an experience like that in my life. But I'm doing it for you guys because I know we're all moving to that Audible kind of life. We love those podcasts. We love the books on tape and Kindle and everything. So anyway, I'm telling you about this new experience of learning and growing I'm doing to get you what you need. So I got an interesting question, and I think we need to bring it in because it's all about now. And you guys, I have to say, I'm so honored that you listen to this show. And I am so honored that you are actually really thinking. You're not just like, okay, I'll think about it tomorrow. No, you're really thinking about it and trying to apply things to your life. That's the best kind of listener I could ever hope for. So, all right, this is the question. Alena, how can we make sense of the anger and fear gripping us right now? You think so? All right. I do. I understand. I understand the drama. Come on, let's be real here. Every institution has gone totally crazy. We've seen unstableness on every single front. Nothing makes sense. There's too much chaos, right? And so where do you even start? And so what does that do? That creates chaos in our minds and confusion. So even if we wanted to act, we can't. That's crippling. So I get it. I want to talk a little about fear and a little bit about anger because they're two different things. And this may help you in other parts of your life too. Right now, everybody is having a little bit of both. And that's like your mind fighting you. And I'll tell you why. Because fear is a very crippling kind of feeling. It's the confusion. It's I'm afraid to step forward because I don't know what's out there. It's important in some ways, in caution, but it can go on overdrive, especially when we feel threatened. And do we feel threatened? Yeah, we do. One minute we hear that Roe versus Wade, however you feel, it is something that was an amendment. And we're having that Roe versus Wade, which has other implications in it too, might go away. They might, gosh, guys, today, as I'm recording this, they're voting on our Fourth Amendment. What's next? There's a shooting here, there's a shooting there. Fear, you don't know. And that's where a lot of people are right now. They're very scattered and very fearful, but they're not moving. Fear does not make you move. It's like a rabbit. You just hide. You just stand perfectly still and say, maybe all this will pass if I just stay right here. That's what a rabbit does. So anger in the healing process is actually a step better. Isn't that interesting? Because anger, you want to take action. You want to do something. But here's the thing about anger. Anger is, like fear, very addicting. I didn't say that about fear, but it is. It's it makes you feel alive. You go to the phone and you say, okay, what's new? What's new? You're drawn to that social media or that news thing that tells you the fear, that feeds that rabbit standstill feeling, or that anger, which is that rolling around in your stomach. And tightens everything and you really do feel alive. But what you're actually doing is you're releasing tons of these hormones for the fight or flee. All right? And it's this, or I'm sorry, fight or flee. It is this constant beret of things that will shut down part of your organs, get your blood pumping faster, okay? And it alters the function of your whole body. And we keep doing it and keep doing it because we feel so alive. But we're also angry. We want to see something happen. We want to see change. There's another side of anger. The only thing that anger and fear do that won't help you in any situation whatsoever is it kind of puts you in a bubble. With anger, it's your way or the highway. There's no room for compromise. You're on a mission now. You're on a passion. We're going to save that amendment, or we're going to stop that vote, or we've seen it, right? We saw it when people went to the White House with violence. There was no middle road. They were mad. There was no other way to do it than just attack. We've seen that through history all the way through. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if you're all going to pack up and start something, a protest, but it's not a way to live. It's not a way to live. And I'm not saying, okay, so do I close my eyes to everything? Do I just hide in my house and say kumbaya and do my meditations? No, none of us can afford to do that right now, quite honestly. And I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective. We're not meant to sit there on high and just say, oh, this is the way it's all going. But I am saying you got to get a higher perspective. You got to step out of the fear. Now, how do you do that? Because when you step out of the fear, you get a higher perspective of really what's going on. You actually are above the trees and you can see all the dynamics. How are we faring with the whole world? And right now you'll just say, oh, we're doing horribly. Yes, but why? Do you see the little puzzles that are happening? When you start to do that and you have this non-committal feeling for a minute, and you're just observing and looking, you'll see much more, and then you'll see the interplay of everything. Things are not as chaotic as you think, but they are a problem. So how do we even step out of that fear? Do we have to feel this way to make action? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I always go back to Martin Luther King, who never really wanted to do the marches. They had to twist his arm. But he always brought in a perspective of love. He always brought in a perspective of we don't need to fight, we just have to make our presence known. He was looking at the higher way of being. He knew that if you brought in violence, it would just turn into a war. No one would listen to anyone. Do you see how that works? Okay. So if you are feeling this fear and you're listening constantly, take all this into account, first of all. Am I going to get up there with a sign and start protesting today? No. Well, then how do I deal with this? I would say do the complete opposite to get your body back to stability. What do I mean? Turn off the news. It is not going to get worse in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. And if it does, you're still not in a position to do anything right now. So turn it off for a little bit. Yes, turn it off. You got to focus on you. You got to get yourself stable again. And then instead, get quiet. And if you're prone to wanting to do meditations, do a lot of meditations. Do meditations for your own answers about you. How can you get into a higher place? How can you see things in a way that can be proactive and change things proactively without all this fear and anger? How can I be me again. Take walks in nature. I'm telling you, every time my life turns upside down, which it does, I'm human too, then nature is what brings me back into perspective. Nature is what gives me the lesson. It's like spirit speaks through the rivers and the trees and the grass and the birds. You know, I needed courage at one point, and I went for a hike with my son and his fiancée. And I'm sitting on a cliff, and there's a little plateau right below me. So I'm not like an open cliff, you know, like I'm not going to fall off into the river. It was pretty high up. But on that little landing, a big black vulture landed. Now, these things are humongous. I've always seen turkey vultures. I've never seen a black vulture. And the black vultures are, I guess, the most aggressive. But this vulture just sat there and looked at me. And this vulture, he or she, was so close to me. I was amazed. And so I said, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful you are. And the wingspan, it's like it heard me and just pushed this beautiful wingspan. And I looked at this bird and I thought, oh my gosh, what courage this bird has. What belief and knowing itself that it has, that it will come right up to me. It has no fear. Isn't that something? And I thought, I have to be more courageous in this situation I wanted to deal with. See how you can learn? So take walks in nature. Listen to the things that bring you up to a more glorious place. Like me, I'm music. Music vibrates since I was born. Music is just in me. And when I hear music, I get a high that most people get from other substances. So for me, it's music. What is yours? What gets you just so feeling so good up there? And try to make it something that you can always do, no matter where you are. And then the other thing, and I know it's talked about so much, but get that pad out and start doing your gratitudes. I'm telling you, gratitudes is one of the surest bet ways to change your perspective. To see that, you know what? With everything that's going on right now, my life is pretty darn good. See, the one thing we keep doing is we listen to social media like it's freaking, I don't know, God. And we think everything on social media is our life. It's not. It's a facet of our life, but it's not our life. And our life might be doing pretty darn good. And at the very least, you can be very thankful for the beauty that you have around you. Your family, your home, my dogs, my boys, right? That kind of thing. Get out a gratitude pad. Do it in the morning, do it at night. Do 5 or 10 in the morning. Write it down. Write it down. There's something about writing it down. I always start my list with thank you, thank you, thank you. And others, I am so grateful that. It doesn't matter. Make it your own. In fact, that whole notebook should be dedicated to your morning gratitude and your evening gratitude. And then the fourth thing, I think I've named 3. The fourth thing is have some fun. We do not have fun. And, you know, and I'll bring this up. I do know this. It's funny. The things that we used to do for fun don't seem so fun anymore. You know, like I loved going to the movies. Well, lately I've gone to the movies and it's not as fun. Number 1, they're showing a lot of teeny bopper movies. Number 2, and I did that. You know, I've been doing that for years. I don't want to see them. But not only that, I don't know, the feeling's not the same. And so I'm thinking to myself, I needed to find new fun things. So I've gone back to my hiking that I love, but now I'm going to look into groups to do, to meet people, to hike with. That would be fun. Look for things that are a little bit different if things aren't fun anymore that you used to do. Listen to Audible books. Ooh, mine's coming out. Listen to that kind of thing. Or start something new. Be brave. I started just painting furniture as I watch a good movie. It was so fun. Now listen, I'm not perfect. I had to do one vanity that I was redoing, a big one. Why I started with a big one, I don't know. But I had to do it over twice. But it didn't matter. It's to my liking, right? It's fun. Choose something fun. You got to see, the thing is, the fear and the anger put you in a bubble. And what you have to do is you have to break the bubble. It's not only a bubble, it's a bubble that spins and is agitated. It's very high anger and vibration. If you know about the laws of the universe, there's the law of polarity. On one side there's fear, on the other there's love. And between all those two, there's many, 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 many ways you can be between fear and love. But here's the thing. In the law of polarity, it says that the two ends, the love and the fear, the yes and the no, the, I don't know, you can and you can't, are the same energy. What? Yes, same energy, but used in a different way. That's the law of polarity. So if you can inch your way to love, now you're saying, but Alena, the world is still spinning and it's spinning out of control. What happens if they vote that amendment in? I know, I hear you. I don't live on a mountain, just sitting there in a pose of a meditation all the day. I see what's going on. So, all right, what's something you can do to get started while you're trying to get your mind into a better place, into a higher perspective? Well, they say 13% of all populations can change the mass consciousness of that population. And then Deepak Chopra, I was just reading, I don't know if I can remember it. It was a very small number that he said, I think he said 14 or 15 or something like that can change an incredible 700,000 people. Of course it's true. See, this is what it is. Light always disperses dark. Always. If there's just one little bit of light, it will put a hole in the darkness. That's what, if you're planting flowers, you plant one white flower for every dark flower, to give you some perspective, right? Because the light is always present when it peeks through. And if you get just a small amount of light that is powerful and strong, you can change a whole mass consciousness of a community, a population, or the world. Did you know that? Pretty incredible, isn't it? Yeah. Not only that, but it sets you up for doing good. This is an incredible thing. All you have to do is in the morning, stand outside if you can, or by a window, and close your eyes and put your hand to your heart. And feel the rays of the universe, of God, of angels, of whatever you believe. Feel that beautiful ray of love come into the heart and fill it with incredible love. And if you have never done this it's just, my gosh, it's such an amazing feeling. Allow it to fill you. Feel that light just fill you. That unconditional love, that tolerance, that peace, that total acceptance. It feels so good. And then once you've soaked that up and you feel good, keep it. And when you open your eyes, you say, today I am going to walk in tolerance and compassion. Today I am going to walk in tolerance and compassion. That's all. Now you're thinking, Alena, seriously? Actually, it's one of the biggest things you can do. Why? Because when you walk forward in that day, every decision you make, every plan you make with another human being, and if you're on communities that vote for things, if we could get our government to do this, just think when they come forward, instead of thinking of feeding a corporation, for say, instead they think, what is better for the people? I have love and compassion for these people. Actually, they should have that, right? They're in the office for us. Sometimes I wonder. But anyway, if they had this, then all their decisions would be for us, for the people. That's all. If you want to learn more about Alena and all about that soul wisdom and the growth, then look at YouTube. We're putting out new videos. Look at TikTok, because we're just starting in TikTok. I'm so excited. And I love TikTok. I laugh so hard on TikTok. I'm glad I can be part of it now. So I'm getting my videos for TikTok. You can find me on any of those. Twitter, just look for Alena Chapman, Alena. And know that you are developing soul wisdom. Everything's about soul wisdom. Namaste, my friends.